My name is Annette. I'm a yogini. I'm a surfer, and I'm a mom of 2 lovely kids.
Wow.
And I started YogaFriends in 2013, so it's a while ago. And I came to the island taking a 3-month sabbatical, a surfing sabbatical.
Wow.
And well, that was 17 years ago, so I kind of stayed. Curiously, it wasn't actually a decision to stay here, but there was somehow that feeling that I can't leave. I don't know if that makes sense. I never really took a decision, I will move to Fuerteventura. But when I got here, it's like, I can't leave. I've got something to do here. So when my first son, when he was about 1.5 years, I felt like, okay, I would like to work a little bit again. And I'm a designer as well. And for me it was clear that I could not go back to that 9-to-5 office job and miss out on seeing my son grow. So I wanted to create something where I would be flexible to see my kids during the day and to see them grow up, basically. And little by little this retreat project started. I started with private retreats at my home in El Roque.
Wow.
And then I, after a few months of doing private retreats for 1 or 2 persons, I started to do group retreats. And they went so well that within a few months I had so many inquiries, and I was saying most of the time no to inquiry emails, and I felt bad about that. No, sorry, we booked out. And so I said, I want to grow in capacity, I need my own house.
Right.
And at that time, Miguel was building this beautiful place, or starting to build it, and then I suggested that maybe I could use this house for the retreats, and we did the adaptations for this house to be a perfect retreat space. So we've got the yoga studio here, we've got an outside yoga deck, we've got 5 beautiful bedrooms and an independent yurt, each of the rooms with its own bathroom. So there's a high level of comfort in this house, and for our guests to feel really comfortable and to be able to relax in this week. If you come into the inner courtyard, you probably have seen that. The idea behind that courtyard was to make you feel like you come into a big embrace when you enter. Maybe you notice that intention of ours when we were thinking about how to set up the distribution of the house.
A big embrace.
A big embrace.
That's really warm. That's really warm.
So the retreats, they offer a combination of mindful movement.
Mindful movement.
Mindful movement.
Okay.
I'll go into that a little bit later. So we combine mindful movement, then mindfulness, and healing food, and the beautiful energy and synergy of the 3 of them. So the food we offer here is vegan and organic. It's my personal conviction that this is the best food that we can give to our bodies to guarantee optimum health and optimum support for our physical body, and also that will reflect in your mental well-being and your emotional well-being.
Yes.
And the principles behind the food is very easy. We want you to feel great after having a meal. We want you to have optimum energy, optimum nutrients. So we care for Ayurvedic principles of combining food. The food is freshly prepared. That's very important in Ayurveda. You don't eat food that is older than 24 hours.
Right. No putting in the freezer and removing it after a week. That doesn't happen.
No, that doesn't happen. Yeah, so it's all freshly prepared from scratch. And what is also very important, we try to keep the ways from farm to table very short. So the food has all its prana. And we're, as I mentioned before, we're building this permaculture garden. So we have even shorter ways, and you get even more prana in the food, in each food serving. I think it's a spiritual development.
Yes.
Really, yes. Now from a yogic point of view, if you want to know. So from a yogic point of view, we've got 3 gunas. Yeah, 3 gunas.
Okay.
So tamas, let's say, is the first state that we start in, and tamas is something like that. Very heavy, no energy, in a state of collapse. So tamas can be caused by the food that you eat. Yeah? Think of something deep fried, or think of a heavy meat stew that will bring you into that digestion coma. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so on our spiritual journey, it goes up like this. The next day that we come in from tamas,
Yes.
here we go into rajas, the opposite.
Wow.
Yeah? So we come from earth element to fire element. Now you think of a food that brings you into rajas. Could be a spicy food or coffee, alcohol. Certain types of alcohol bring you into this up mode.
Yes.
Yeah? And then in the next step of our spiritual evolution would be coming into a sabbatical state. So in a sabbatical state, we are in balance. And our aim for our yoga practice is to come into the sattvic balance. We use the breath for that, and the balancing breath. And of course, you want your food to support you being and staying in that sattvic state.
Right.
So sattvic food that goes into this category would be fruit in the wider sense. And fruit in the wider sense includes nuts and seeds, cereals, fruit, vegetables. Okay. So from a purely yogic point of view, you would want to have a plant-based diet. You want food that helps you to bring your nervous system into balance.
Yes.
And the choice would be then plant-based diet. And if I can give one more suggestion, try to cook from scratch, which means you want chickpeas, you buy chickpeas and you cook them. Don't buy them cooked. Okay. When you start reading the ingredient list, you don't want these things in your body. Okay. So where you can, cook from scratch. Yoga is not a self-improvement project. Okay? Now let that sink in.
Yes.
Okay? It's not about becoming a better version of yourself. It's about uncovering what is already there, what has already been there all the time. So, if you practice asana in a way that you're aiming to get somewhere and then I will feel better or then I will be happy, like if I can do a headstand, I will be happy. I can tell you from experience, it's not going to happen. So yoga is an invitation to explore yourself, to get to know yourself and to befriend yourself. Yeah. Which is not an easy thing to do because we've been brought up in a very competitive way, and for many of us love has been conditioned. You have to deliver in order to be loved. Yeah.
Interesting.
So we've got these conditionings, And they are playing a big role, but on a very subtle level. So it can happen that we practice yoga and these subtle conditionings are conditioning how we go about when we practice asana. Now, what we like to do here at YogaFriends is to invite you to explore your natural movement patterns. So that sounds maybe a little bit difficult. It's not. You were born with them, so you've got them.
Right.
But they're not necessarily developed to 100%. I'll give you one example so that it gets clearer. So natural movement pattern could be breath creates movement. We remember rajas. If I'm here, stressed, yeah, my breathing is not happening, okay? I'll have a very nervous, high chest breathing, and then if I try to make asanas from here, yeah, I'll very likely get stuck. Now, when we explore breath creates movement, we first try to create the condition for breathing to happen. So that would be, for example, the steps of how we would go about in our asana practice. So what can we do to allow breathing to happen? So rather than trying to breathe forcefully, we create conditions in our body that breathing just happens. So once you regulate your breathing and it's happening, then from there you move. And it's very interesting to go through these different natural movement patterns that we were born with and to develop them. And you will notice that by developing how your movement becomes more easeful and how you're starting to move with more grace, you need less effort to do the same movement. And it's a lifelong exploration.
Absolutely, it's a journey.
It is, absolutely. So this sounds so easy, let's create the conditions for breathing to happen. And this is all about your relationship with the earth. And I've been exploring this relationship now for 7 years.
Wow.
And I can say I'm still at the beginning.
Always a student, always a learner.
Yeah,
that's how we grow.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Lovely, wow. That was such an opening conversation, about so many things. So thank you for sharing your thoughts about it.
Then one more thing, which I'm observing in the yoga practice and in sharing yoga practice. I don't want to call it yoga instruction because it's really not. So one thing that's starting to happen now, and which I'm very, very happy about, is that we're stepping away from a Simon Says pedagogy, which means I do, you copy, yeah? I do, monkey copies. And we're going away from that and we're coming to a practice where you find your own expression. So I'll ask you, how does that feel? Because I can't know. I don't know how that feels in your body. I can know for myself how that feels in this moment in my body, but I can't know for you, yeah? So I will give you as a student back that responsibility to choose in every moment, what is your yoga? Yeah? What is your position in this moment? So that makes it harder because we're in very high-paced jobs and we sometimes like to give away the responsibility and having to think. Yeah? But it's, I can tell you, it's absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth taking back the responsibility and stepping back into feeling and allowing ourselves to feel again. So that's the big invitation behind practicing yoga with us. Yeah. First of all, Fuerteventura is quite big in relationship to its inhabitants, which means you've got a lot of space here. It feels very spacious to be on Fuerteventura. You can still find a beach for yourself and have, have an unspoiled piece of piece of nature for yourself. And then Fuerteventura still has this raw nature and the power of the raw nature. And I think that feels very appealing to most of us because it connects to something, to this raw nature within us. Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of helps us to remember something. Yeah. And then of course, if you look at Fuerteventura, there's not so many trees. That's right. Yeah. But you have clean views over these beautiful landscapes. Yeah, you see these volcanic hills, and they've got a very feminine form to them. And I think for the mind, it's very clearing that you can see so far. Yeah. So what happens to us at least I believe that is what happens to us on a physical level always have an impact on our mental and our emotional level. Mm-hmm. And if on a physical level I can see so far, I can see to the horizon and I can see the ocean, that will give me some clarity in my view inwards as well, into my mental landscape and into my emotional landscape. So I think it really helps this uncluttered landscape to unclutter some of the mental and the emotional landscape. That makes sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah?
Yes.
And then, of course, we can't forget it's a volcanic island. Mm-hmm. And volcanoes are related to fire energy, right?
Yes.
And fire stands for transformation. So, wow. I noticed a lot of people that come here, they're right in a transformational process. I often have retreat guests that have just stepped out of a relationship or that are just about to finish a job or to take on a new job. So I think Fuerteventura feels appealing to someone who needs a little bit of help in that transformation. Yeah, because of its energy. So most of our guests are from Europe, mm-hmm. Yeah. So from Switzerland, from Germany, from UK, from Scandinavia, from France. Lately we've had a lot of guests from France as the flight connections are getting better. Mm-hmm. But we also had a lot of international guests. We had guests from Florida, from Miami, from California, Santa Cruz, from Afghanistan, even from Mali.
Wow!
From Morocco. I had amazing ladies from Morocco joining the retreat as well. Yeah. My personal suggestion would be to come in September or October. Mm-hmm. The ocean water is still nice and warm, you can have a swim. Mm-hmm. And if you go snorkeling on the west coast, it's mating season for mantas in September. Manta rays, yes. And if you're lucky, maybe you see one or even several of them. So it's just magical. Oh.
Lovely, lovely.
That would be my personal suggestion. Pick up a daily mindfulness practice, even if it's just 5 minutes. It's a high recommendation. I guess a lot of you are asking how to get through these intense times without going insane. And I think it's now more than ever important to sit down and to reconnect with yourself. And if it's even 5 minutes, it's enough. We sometimes think, I don't have enough time. 5 minutes is a blessing for yourself. And I think it's a good time to give some self-blessing to yourselves.